Have you ever wondered what happens when the spotlight fades, the cameras stop rolling, and fame suddenly slips away? Once shining as some of the brightest stars in entertainment, whether on screen, stage, or music charts, these figures were household names adored by millions around the globe. But life behind the glitz and glamour isn't always what it seems. With poor choices, criminal behavior, or a fall from grace too steep to recover from, they lost it all: their freedom, their careers, and the public image they had once worked so hard to build. In today's video, we're diving into the lives of 20 celebrities who are currently serving time in prison. Faces that, if you saw them on the street today, you might not even recognize. Behind the fame lies a series of bitter stories, valuable life lessons, and a stark warning about the consequences of sacrificing everything for a single momentary mistake. These are not just stories of downfall, but also of the human side of fame and its pitfalls. If these stories resonate with you, leave a 1 in the comments to show your empathy or connection to their emotional journeys. If you have a different perspective, leave a 0. Don't forget to like and share so your friends can learn from these stories too. Kid Creole, a pivotal figure in the history of hip-hop and a member of the iconic group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, once stood at the peak of fame. The group's groundbreaking music in the 70s and 80s revolutionized the genre and cemented their place in music history. But as time passed and the group's influence began to wane, Kid Creole's popularity gradually faded. By 2017, Nathaniel Glover, better known by his stage name Kid Creole, had stepped away from the music scene and was living a much more modest life, working as a repairman in Manhattan. However, Kid Creole's story would take a dark turn. In 2017, he was arrested and charged with the fatal stabbing of a man in New York City, marking a shocking fall from grace for the once celebrated artist. Kid Creole's life took a tragic and shocking turn in 2017 when he encountered a homeless man named John Jolly. Surveillance footage captured the moments leading up to the confrontation, showing Creole and Jolly interacting before Creole fatally stabbed Jolly, who later succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Creole claimed he acted in self-defense, asserting that Jolly had behaved inappropriately, though the circumstances surrounding the incident remain clouded in controversy. The case garnered significant media attention, as the once celebrated hip-hop icon found himself at the center of a tragic event that dramatically altered the course of his life. However, the court rejected Kid Creole's self-defense argument, and in 2022, he was convicted of first-degree manslaughter. The verdict marked the culmination of a tragic chapter in his life, and he was sentenced to 16 years in prison, with an additional 5 years of parole after his release. Kid Creole's case shocked not only the fans of the old-school hip-hop generation but also served as a stark reminder of how one moment of lost control, no matter the circumstances, can irreversibly destroy a once promising legacy. From a celebrated member of a groundbreaking group to a convicted felon, his story is a powerful reflection of how fame and past achievements can be overshadowed by a single, irreversible act. Another star whose rise and fall stunned many was Mel Hall, a former professional baseball player who made his mark in Major League Baseball (MLB) for over a decade with teams such as the Chicago Cubs, Cleveland Indians, and New York Yankees. Hall was widely praised for his exceptional skills on the field, with one of his most memorable moments being a 3-run homer that helped the Yankees secure a critical win. After his time in the MLB, Hall expanded his career internationally, playing in Japan for a while before retiring from professional baseball in 1996. His athletic career seemed to be heading toward a bright post-retirement future, but the public's perception of Hall would soon change dramatically. In 2007, Mel Hall's life took a dark turn when he was arrested in Louisville, Texas, on charges of sexual assault. As the investigation unfolded, more victims, mostly teenagers, came forward, accusing him of misconduct while coaching or through his connections. One disturbing case involved Hall trying to marry an underage girl. In 2009, he was convicted on multiple charges and sentenced to 45 years in prison, marking the fall of a once promising baseball star. R. Kelly, once one of the most famous R&B artists of all time, enjoyed a career filled with massive hits like I Believe I Can Fly, Ignition, and Trapped in the Closet. He was seen as an icon in the music world, known for his exceptional talent and profound influence on global R&B. However, in the mid-2000s, allegations of misconduct surfaced, tarnishing his career. Reports of his relationships with underage girls began to attract significant public attention, and his once glittering reputation began to crumble. One of the most notable incidents occurred in 2002 when a video was leaked, showing R. Kelly allegedly having sexual relations with an underage girl. Although he denied the allegations and was acquitted in this case, subsequent accusations continued to surface, further damaging his public image. It wasn't until 2019, after a thorough investigation and the courage of victims speaking out, that R. Kelly was arrested and faced multiple charges of sexual abuse, trafficking women, and other crimes related to child abuse. His case attracted widespread public attention, particularly following the release of the documentary Surviving R. Kelly, which exposed the extent of his criminal behavior. In June 2022, R. Kelly was sentenced to 10 years in prison in New York for charges related to sexual abuse and rape. Later, in February 2023, he was handed another 20-year sentence for child abuse in a Chicago court. Once celebrated for his musical genius, R. Kelly now stands as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of abusing power. His legacy, marked by unforgettable songs, is forever tainted by his actions, serving as a cautionary tale about the price of crime and exploitation. Amy Locane, once a rising star in the 90s, gained fame for her roles in the sitcom Spencer and the iconic soap opera Melrose Place. With her stunning looks and effortless acting, she captured the hearts of viewers. One of her most memorable lines, "Sorry I locked you in tonight, you're the best date I've ever had," became an instant classic. Her career appeared to be flourishing, with a string of promising film and TV opportunities on the horizon. However, by 2005, her life took a dramatic and unexpected turn. Personal struggles and legal issues eventually led to a shocking downfall, culminating in her unforeseen imprisonment. After stepping away from the spotlight, Amy Locane made only occasional appearances in a few short films, remaining largely out of the public eye until 2010. However, that year marked a tragic turn in her life when she was arrested for speeding and driving under the influence. The crash she caused resulted in the death of 60-year-old Helen. In the aftermath, Amy publicly expressed her deep remorse, acknowledging the gravity of her actions. She reflected, "I was driving home while drunk, and the consequences were catastrophic." In 2013, Amy Locane was sentenced to 3 years in prison for the fatal accident, but she was released in 2015 after demonstrating that she had remained sober since the incident. However, public outrage over what was seen as a lenient sentence led to an appeal and a retrial. As a result, in 2019, she was given an additional 5-year sentence, which was later extended to 8 years in 2020. Currently, she is believed to be eligible for parole by the end of 2024. Reflecting on her actions, Amy expressed deep remorse, saying, "I made a mistake, and I've done everything I can to no longer be the person who did what I did." Her story stands as a stark reminder of the far-reaching consequences of reckless choices and the enduring impact of our actions on others. Corey Miller, better known by his stage name C-Murder, rose to prominence in the late 1990s as a member of the group TRU and through his successful solo career, with hits like Murder One and Down for My Ends. However, his trajectory took a tragic turn in 2002 when C. Murder was arrested for the shooting death of a teenager named Steve Thomas. After years of legal battles, he was convicted in 2009 of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Additionally, he received a prior 10-year sentence for charges related to intentional violence. Despite his conviction, C. Murder has consistently maintained his innocence and continues to fight for his freedom through appeals. In 2018, there was a glimmer of hope when two key witnesses recanted their testimonies, alleging they had been coerced by the police to fabricate their statements. One of them, Kenneth Jordan, claimed he had been threatened and forced to lie. However, in 2023, a judge upheld C. Murder's murder conviction, leaving the former rapper to persist in his battle for justice. His ongoing struggle serves as a tragic reminder of how closely fame and legal troubles can intertwine, often leaving lives forever altered. Tammy Lynn Sytch, better known by her ring name Sunny, was a trailblazer in WWE professional wrestling during the 1990s. She quickly became an unforgettable icon, captivating fans with her charm, charisma, and powerful influence both inside and outside the ring. In 1996, Sunny emerged as one of WWE's most prominent figures, and in 2011, she was rightfully inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame as a testament to her lasting impact on the industry. However, despite her success in the wrestling world, her personal life took a darker turn, marked by a series of arrests related to harassment, traffic violations, and driving under the influence. A major tragedy struck in 2022 when Tammy Lynn Sytch caused a fatal DUI accident in Volusia County, Florida. She collided with another vehicle, resulting in the death of the driver, Julian Lassiter. At the time of the crash, her blood alcohol concentration was 4 times the legal limit, and she was driving with a suspended license, marking her 4th DUI offense in just a decade. In 2023, Tammy did not contest the charges and was sentenced to 17 years in prison, followed by 8 years of probation. During her sentencing, she expressed deep remorse, saying, "I understand the pain and how it tears your heart apart, and because of that, I am truly sorry." Todd and Julie Kriley rose to fame with their reality TV show Kriley Knows Best, which premiered in 2014. The show quickly turned them into media sensations, propelling them to build a successful television empire. However, their seemingly perfect life took a dramatic turn in 2022 when they were charged with bank fraud and tax evasion. The couple was accused of submitting false documents to secure over $30 million in loans, and their lavish lifestyle, frequently showcased on television, drew attention to the contrast between their public persona and the serious criminal charges. Critics were quick to point out the irony that Todd Kriley had carefully crafted an image of wealth and success, all while secretly engaging in financial fraud. In the end, both Todd and their accountant, Peter Tarantino, were sentenced. Todd received 12 years in prison, Julie was sentenced to 7 years, and Tarantino was given 3 years. As of 2024, Julie is awaiting a retrial after appealing her conviction and remains incarcerated. Their dramatic downfall serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of living beyond one's means and the consequences of attempting to maintain a false image. It underscores the truth that the spotlight often only reveals the surface, while much more complicated stories lie hidden beneath. If I had to choose, I'd say Amy Locane's case stands out as an example of leniency, especially with her initial 3-year sentence for a fatal DUI, which sparked public outrage. Though her sentence was later extended, it raises questions about fairness. C. Murder and Tammy Lynn Sytch also highlight concerns about justice, but in different ways. C. Murder's case with ongoing appeals and Sytch's tragic accident. Fame often complicates legal outcomes, leaving us questioning if justice is truly being served. What do you think about these cases? Let me know in the comments. Tory Lanez, real name Daystar Peterson, was once considered one of the brightest stars in modern hip-hop and R&B, known for his versatile style and hits like Say It, Love, and The Take. His ability to both sing and rap quickly made him one of the most popular artists of the mid-2010s. However, his promising career took a dark turn in 2020 when he was arrested for firearm possession after a party in Los Angeles, following a shocking incident involving rapper Megan Thee Stallion. After much speculation and controversy on social media, Megan Thee Stallion publicly confirmed that Tory Lanez had shot her as they were leaving the party. The incident quickly became a media sensation, dividing fans and raising important questions about violence, responsibility, and the behavior of male artists in the entertainment industry. Tory Lanez denied all accusations and even released an album that reflected his perspective on the incident, but this only fueled public outrage. In December 2022, following a highly publicized trial, Tory was convicted on multiple charges, including assault with a semi-automatic weapon, carrying an unregistered firearm, and negligent discharge of a firearm. In August 2023, Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison, marking the rapid downfall of an artist once expected to become a global icon. The trial was seen as a significant victory for both the victim and the women's rights movement in the music industry. Tory is currently serving his sentence in a federal prison, and while he continues to appeal, his career future is now overshadowed by his poor choices. His story serves as a cautionary tale for celebrities about the consequences of reckless behavior, reminding us that no one, no matter how talented, is above the law. Jen Shah, a standout star of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, captivated audiences with her glamorous lifestyle and bold, no-nonsense personality. On TV, she often flaunted her wealth, designer outfits, lavish mansions, and large team of assistants, creating an image of success and power. However, behind the spotlight, the reality was quite different. In March 2021, Jen Shah was arrested by federal authorities in connection with a nationwide phone and internet fraud scheme that had been operating for nearly a decade. Jen Shah was charged alongside her assistant, Stuart Smith, with conspiracy to commit fraud and money laundering. They targeted elderly and vulnerable individuals by promising quick wealth opportunities and then taking thousands of dollars from them. Initially, Jen vehemently denied all charges and continued filming for the show with remarkable confidence. However, after multiple hearings and the presentation of evidence, she unexpectedly pled guilty in July 2022, admitting her central role in the fraudulent scheme and expressing remorse for the harm caused to innocent people. In January 2023, Jen Shah was sentenced to 6 years and 6 months in federal prison, along with 5 years of supervised release after serving her sentence. In court, Jen Shah broke down in tears and apologized to the victims, saying, "I allowed greed and fame to cloud my moral judgment. I will never forgive myself." Currently, she is serving her sentence at Bryan Federal Prison Camp in Texas, where she is reportedly participating in educational and rehabilitation programs. Despite her incarceration, Jen continues to stay in touch with her family and fans through letters, sharing her journey of redemption. Jen Shah's story serves as a clear warning about the dark side of fame, showing how the pressure to maintain a false image can lead to serious, misguided choices. Behind the glamorous dresses and lavish parties lies a painful reality: that greed and dishonesty always come at a cost. Ryan Grantham was a talented actor who began his career in 2007, with roles in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, iZombie, and Riverdale. His career seemed poised for success in the Canadian film and television industry. However, in 2020, his life took a tragic turn when he murdered his own mother at their home in Squamish, British Columbia. Ryan later confessed to the crime and was charged with second-degree murder, leaving the community and his fans in shock. The case revealed signs of untreated mental illness, and it was revealed that Ryan had planned to commit suicide after killing his mother. In court, Ryan Grantham admitted to the crime and expressed deep remorse. He was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for the first 14 years. His story stands as a heartbreaking reminder of the importance of mental health and the devastating consequences when it's overlooked. After committing the shocking act, Grantham explained that he believed he was freeing his mother from having to witness the dark plans he had in mind. That reasoning only added to the pain and confusion surrounding an already tragic situation. The incident stunned fans and the entertainment industry alike, forever altering the course of his life and career. Later, Ryan Grantham recorded a video confession while driving and ultimately turned himself in to the police, an act that reflected his deep remorse. In 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 14 years. The case brought a tragic end to what had once been a promising career, and it ignited a broader conversation about mental health. Silent struggles, if left unaddressed, can sometimes lead to irreversible consequences. Grantham's story underscores the critical need for mental health support, especially for young people navigating the pressures of the entertainment industry. Jared Fogle, once celebrated as an inspiration to millions for his incredible weight loss journey on the Subway diet, suffered one of the most dramatic downfalls among public figures known for promoting healthy lifestyles. Known as the Subway guy who lost 245 pounds, his image was everywhere in the early 2000s, featured in countless ad campaigns, praised by the media, and recognized as one of the era's most successful brand ambassadors. But in 2015, Fogle's career and reputation came crashing down when he was investigated and ultimately arrested by the FBI for sex crimes and possession of child pornography. The investigation began with the arrest of Russell Taylor, the director of Fogle's charitable foundation, and quickly widened as evidence emerged linking Jared Fogle to the receipt and distribution of illegal materials, as well as engaging in sexual acts with minors while traveling across state lines. In August 2015, Fogle pled guilty to the serious charges and was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in federal prison, along with a substantial fine and restitution payments to his victims. He is currently serving his sentence at the Englewood Federal Correctional Institution in Colorado. Based on good behavior, Fogle could be considered for early release as soon as 2029, a possibility that has sparked widespread public outrage. The Jared Fogle case not only destroyed the carefully crafted image of a man once hailed as a symbol of health and hope, but also raised serious questions about the ethical responsibility brands bear when choosing their public faces. Subway quickly cut ties and publicly condemned his actions, but for many, the shock and deep sense of betrayal endured. Fogle's downfall serves as a powerful reminder that fame offers no protection from justice, and that no matter how well hidden, horrific actions will eventually come to light. Ian Watkins, former frontman of the Welsh rock band Lost Prophets, was once admired by millions for his commanding vocals and emotionally raw performances. With chart-topping hits like Last Train Home, Rooftops, and Shinobi vs. Dragon Ninja, he became a defining figure of the early 2000s emo and alternative rock scene. But in 2012, his career came to a horrifying halt when police uncovered deeply disturbing evidence of serious child sexual abuse crimes on his computer, marking the beginning of a fall from grace that shocked fans and the music industry alike. Following his arrest and investigation, Ian Watkins admitted to a series of horrific charges, including conspiracy to rape a baby, possession and distribution of child pornography, and encouraging 2 mothers to abuse their own children. In December 2013, Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in prison, with a 6-year post-release supervision requirement, with a requirement to serve at least 2/3 of the sentence before he could be considered for parole. The two mothers who co-defend him were also sentenced to between 14 and 17 years in prison. The horrific details of the case sparked outrage and cast a permanent shadow over the musical legacy of Lost Prophets, forcing the band to disband shortly after the incident was exposed. Even while incarcerated, Ian Watkins continued to generate controversy. In 2018, he was discovered with a mobile phone in prison, an offense that led to an additional 10-month extension to his sentence. By 2023, Watkins once again made headlines when he was assaulted by fellow inmates, prompting a wider debate on how high-profile criminals should be housed in secure facilities. Ian Watkins has become a symbol of the dark undercurrents that can lurk behind the public persona. His story not only brings deep pain to fans and society, but also serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of idolizing someone solely for their talent, as the truth beneath the surface can be far more disturbing than any music they ever created. Gary Glitter, once a prominent figure in the glam rock era known for his flamboyant style and catchy hits, saw his career unravel amid a series of serious criminal allegations. In 1999, he was convicted of offenses related to child pornography. Despite serving his sentence, Glitter's legal troubles continued. In 2006, he was convicted in Vietnam for similar crimes, cementing his reputation as a symbol of moral corruption within the entertainment industry. After returning to the UK in 2015, Glitter was once again sentenced to 16 years in prison for historical offenses as part of the high-profile Operation U-Tree investigation. In court, Gary Glitter was identified by his real name, Paul Gadd, though the public continued to recognize him by his former stage persona. Despite having served part of his sentence, Glitter was released in 2023, igniting widespread public outrage. His case serves as a stark reminder that fame cannot permanently mask the darkness lurking beneath it. However, just months after his release, Glitter was recalled to prison for breaching the conditions of his parole, specifically for accessing prohibited materials. This underscores the significant challenges in rehabilitating individuals convicted of such serious crimes. His story stands as a testament to the enduring weight of one's past, where redemption isn't simply about serving time. His reoffending calls into question the effectiveness of the rehabilitation system and the oversight provided after release. Glitter's case has sparked a divide in public opinion, torn between compassion and a firm demand for justice. Once a music icon, the legacy of his actions continues to cast a long shadow over society, making it impossible to forget. His story serves as a powerful reminder of the responsibility that comes with fame and the far-reaching consequences of one's actions while in the spotlight. Michael Jace, the actor celebrated for his role as Officer Julian Lowe in the acclaimed TV series The Shield, represents one of the most tragic tales of a once-admired celebrity's downfall. Known for his calm demeanor and authentic acting, Jace had built a successful career, appearing in prominent films and TV shows such as Forrest Gump, Boogie Nights, and Planet of the Apes. However, his life and career took a devastating and irreversible turn in 2014. On May 19, 2014, Michael Jace was arrested after he called the police himself and confessed to shooting his wife. Michael Jace shot his wife, April Jace, at their home in Los Angeles while their two young children were inside. The ensuing investigation uncovered that their marriage had been in deep turmoil, with Jace exhibiting controlling behavior and a history of domestic violence. The case became even more tragic when it was revealed that Jace shot his wife twice in the back and once in the leg, in a fit of rage believed to be triggered by suspicions of her having an affair. In a 2016 trial, Michael Jace was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole only after serving at least 40 years. Prosecutors highlighted the brutality of the crime, stressing that Jace had time to reflect before committing the act, which contributed to the severity of his sentence. The case sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the public, not only due to the horrific nature of the crime, but also because of the stark contrast between Jace's on-screen image as a model husband and father and his real-life actions. The tragic death of April Jace, a mother, athlete, and respected teacher, deepened the heartbreak, adding another layer of sorrow to the already devastating story. The tragedy left profound pain for the family, particularly for the two young children who not only lost their mother, but also witnessed their father's arrest shortly afterward. Michael Jace is currently serving his sentence at a California state prison, and he will not be eligible for parole until 2053. His story serves as a heartbreaking reminder that fame offers no immunity from the consequences of violent behavior and crime, and underscores the importance of addressing family conflicts in a healthy manner before they escalate into irreversible tragedies. Suge Knight, once one of the most powerful and controversial figures in hip-hop, was widely regarded as the kingpin of the West Coast. As a co-founder of the legendary Death Row Records, Knight played a pivotal role in the rise of iconic artists like Dr. Dre, Tupac Shakur, and Snoop Dogg. Under his leadership, Death Row became synonymous with the golden era of rap, characterized by its rebellious and often violent edge. However, Knight's power and aggressive demeanor quickly turned him into a feared and divisive figure in the music industry. With a web of shady connections, threatening behavior, and a blatant abuse of power, Knight gradually alienated many of his allies. The fallout intensified after Tupac's tragic death in 1996, an event that continues to fuel speculation and controversy to this day. Knight's life eventually descended into an inescapable legal nightmare. He was arrested multiple times on charges ranging from assault to probation violations. However, the incident that sealed his fate occurred in 2015, when he ran over and killed Terry Carter, a former friend, and severely injured another man following a confrontation on the set of Straight Outta Compton. Surveillance footage captured Knight deliberately driving over Carter and then fleeing the scene, solidifying the gravity of his actions. Facing a lengthy prison sentence, Suge Knight ultimately pleaded guilty to manslaughter in 2018 to avoid a harsher penalty. He was sentenced to 28 years in prison, with 22 years for manslaughter and an additional 6 years for violating his probation due to previous convictions. Knight is currently serving his sentence at a California state prison and will be eligible for parole in 2034, by which time he will be nearly 70 years old. Suge Knight's downfall serves as a powerful symbol of the dark side of power in the music industry, where money, fame, and control can cloud judgment and defy the law. Despite his central role in catapulting hip-hop to global prominence, Knight's legacy is now inseparable from violence, crime, and the loss of control that led to his ultimate ruin. Joe Exotic, born Joseph Maldonado Passage, formerly Joseph Schreibvogel, became a global internet sensation through the Netflix documentary series Tiger King. With his flamboyant style, impulsive personality, and a life full of extraordinary and often unbelievable events, Joe Exotic quickly became a cultural phenomenon. However, behind the spotlight lay a long history of criminal behavior and legal violations that ultimately cost him his freedom as the owner of the Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park in Oklahoma. Joe Exotic famously referred to himself as the Tiger King and once housed over 200 tigers, along with hundreds of other rare and exotic animals. The activities at Joe Exotic's park were heavily criticized by animal rights activists, who accused him of animal abuse, illegal breeding, and providing poor living conditions for the animals. The conflict reached its peak through a bitter and public feud with Carole Baskin, an animal rights activist and founder of Big Cat Rescue. The rivalry between the two escalated to such an extent that, in 2017, Joe Exotic was accused of attempting to have Carole Baskin murdered. Although the assassination plot failed, This act became a central focus of his federal trial in 2019. Joe Exotic was ultimately convicted on 17 counts of wildlife abuse and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder for hire, leading to a 22-year prison sentence. Although Joe Exotic has consistently denied the allegations and claimed he was set up, his conviction remained intact, and he is currently serving his sentence at a federal prison in the U.S. During his time in prison, Joe Exotic has made multiple attempts to seek clemency, even reaching out to former President Donald Trump, whom he once hoped would save him. While his sentence was reduced by 1 year in 2022, Joe Exotic still faces over a decade of imprisonment. Joe Exotic's story is a bizarre and dramatic example of how fame can be quickly overshadowed by scandal, and when the law intervenes, no king is exempt from facing the consequences of their own actions. Danny Masterson, best known for his role in that 70s show, became entangled in a scandal after being accused of serious sexual assault. The allegations first surfaced in 2017, concerning incidents from the early 2000s. Despite denying all accusations, Masterson lost his role in the Netflix series The Ranch and was also dropped by his management company. The case grew more complicated when several other women, all former members of Scientology, came forward with similar accounts, describing experiences of being stalked, harassed, and having their privacy invaded after making their allegations. The case sparked significant controversy surrounding issues of power, religion, and justice within Hollywood. Danny Masterson was ultimately convicted in 2023 and sentenced to 30 years in prison. His first trial ended without a verdict due to a hung jury, but in May 2023, his second trial concluded with a guilty verdict on 2 of the 3 charges. This ruling marked a pivotal moment in a case that had attracted widespread attention for several years, highlighting deep concerns about abuse of power and the pursuit of justice in the entertainment industry. By September 2023, Danny Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison, a reflection of the judiciary's firm stance on the severity of his crimes. The judge emphasized the lasting impact of his actions on the victims, underscoring the deep trauma caused by his behavior. This sentencing served as a stern reminder that fame cannot shield individuals from the consequences of criminal actions. The case also raised significant questions about power, religion, and justice within Hollywood, further fueling the ongoing debate about accountability in the industry. Elizabeth Holmes, once hailed as the female Steve Jobs, was the founder and CEO of Theranos, a healthcare technology company that reached a peak valuation of billions of dollars. With her image as a young, ambitious entrepreneur, Holmes graced the covers of prestigious magazines and became a symbol of innovation in the healthcare industry. However, her success story unraveled when it was revealed that her so-called breakthrough blood testing technology was nothing more than an elaborate lie. Theranos was founded in 2003 when Holmes was just 19 years old and a dropout from Stanford University, marking the beginning of what would later become one of the most infamous corporate scandals in history. She promised a device called Edison that could perform hundreds of tests with just a few drops of blood, a claim that, if true, would have revolutionized the healthcare industry. Investors, politicians, and the media were captivated by this bold vision, allowing Holmes to raise nearly $1 billion and pushing the company's valuation to $9 billion at its peak. However, behind the glamour was a carefully constructed web of deceit. Internal reports, followed by an investigation from the Wall Street Journal, exposed that Theranos technology didn't work as promised. In reality, most of the tests were conducted using traditional machinery, not the Edison device that had been marketed as the company's groundbreaking innovation. In 2018, Elizabeth Holmes was charged with fraud and conspiracy to defraud investors and patients. After a lengthy trial, she was convicted in January 2022 on 4 counts of fraud. By November of that year, Holmes was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months in prison, beginning her sentence in May 2023 at a federal prison in Texas. She may be eligible for parole as early as 2032, Elizabeth Holmes case stands as one of the largest financial scandals in Silicon Valley, illustrating the dark side of the hype-driven tech startup world, where trust can be exploited for deception, and the polished image of an entrepreneur can mask serious fraudulent behavior. Josh Duggar gained fame from the reality show 19 Kids and Counting, which showcased the life of his conservative Christian family. However, his public image came crashing down in 2015 when he admitted to inappropriate behavior involving several minors, including his own sisters. Due to the statute of limitations, the allegations were not pursued criminally at that time, but the revelations caused a significant scandal that led to the cancellation of the family's show and widespread public backlash. However, in 2021, Josh Duggar was arrested for receiving and possessing child exploitation materials. Despite his attempts to appeal, he was ultimately sentenced to nearly 13 years in federal prison. The case not only led to the cancellation of the once popular television show 19 Kids and Counting, but also served as a stark reminder of the disparity between a carefully cultivated public image and the disturbing truth that often lies behind the scenes. Harvey Weinstein, born in 1952 in New York City, was a renowned American film producer and co-founder of Miramax Films, alongside his brother Bob Weinstein. Under his leadership, Miramax became one of the leading independent film production companies, producing and distributing several Oscar-winning films, including Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love, The English Patient, and other notable works. For decades, Weinstein was seen as the powerful mogul of Hollywood, with the ability to make or break a star's career with a single word, cementing his reputation as one of the most influential figures in the entertainment industry. However, in 2017, Harvey Weinstein's image completely collapsed when a series of allegations of harassment and sexual assault were exposed by the New York Times and the New Yorker. Over 80 women, including many well-known actresses like Angelina Jolie, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Rose McGowan, came forward to accuse Weinstein of sexual abuse spanning many years. These shocking revelations played a pivotal role in igniting the #MeToo movement, a global wave of accusations and activism against sexual harassment and the abuse of power, sparking widespread conversations about gender inequality and misconduct in various industries. In 2020, Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison for charges of rape and sexual misconduct. In addition to this sentence, he is facing multiple lawsuits and further accusations in California and the United Kingdom. Weinstein's downfall was not only a major shock to Hollywood, but also a pivotal moment in the ongoing fight for women's rights and the amplification of voices across all sectors of society. His story serves as a powerful reminder that no amount of power or influence can shield one from the consequences of wrongdoing. The journey from the spotlight to behind bars is often an unexpected fall, but it serves as a powerful reminder. Fame does not exempt anyone from the law, and no one, no matter how famous, can escape the consequences of their actions. So, which of these celebrities shocked you the most when you found out they were in prison? Or do you think any of these cases reflect clear injustice or leniency in the legal system? Feel free to leave a comment below and share your thoughts. I'd love to hear everyone's perspective. If you found this video interesting or thought-provoking, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next one.